Now, let's hear from John, who will share his testimony and give you even more of a sense of the powerful changes we see happening in men's lives every day. John, please come share.
Hi, everybody. I first walked through the doors of the Guiding Light in late September of 2013. Though a long-term Grand Rapids resident, I had been living in the center of the state in the small town of Alma. There I lived with my aunt and worked at her law firm. Worked is actually a very inaccurate description. Mostly I went to the office to kill time between drinks or drank on the job while trudging through simple work assignments that my lifestyle made miserable. For the past few years, I had spent a lot of time living with different relatives, getting a job, and then drinking away all the money I made, and eventually suffering some kind of breakdown. I had developed from age 16 a history of very heavy drinking. I was hospitalized in my 19th year for alcohol poisoning and had to be taken by ambulance to the ER, but still did not think I had a problem. My parents were afraid and concerned and wanted to help me, but I was expert at manipulating others and convinced them I could control my drinking. I drank heavily and took drugs through my college years at the University of Notre Dame, and my post-collegiate years were marked by a steady uptick both in my alcohol consumption and in my level of despair. I struggled to admit the glaringly obvious fact that I was alcoholic. Worse still, when I finally made that admission, I had no idea what to do about it. By May of 2013, I had thoroughly lost the will to live. One night, after drinking a large quantity of whiskey, I made a fairly serious attempt at suicide. I drank a bottle of Tylenol and chased it with more whiskey. I threw up the pills and survived, but I had finally scared myself to the core. After that, I wanted to stop drinking, but I couldn't. I could stay straight for a few days, but then I would drink again, sometimes getting thoroughly, dangerously drunk. As I stated earlier, in September 2013, I was living with my aunt in Alma. One morning, I went to work with a bottle, knowing all the attorneys would be out of the office until that afternoon. I drank that bottle and got another one at lunchtime. By the time my aunt got to her office, her whole office smelled like vodka, and I was horribly drunk. She sent me home and decided she had had enough. She called my family to come get me, and I came back to Grand Rapids. I had no resources, nowhere to live, and couldn't imagine continuing my life with alcohol or without it. I was admitted into the New Life in Christ program at the Guiding Light on October 1st, 2013. That date is also my sobriety date, and I marked 1 year sober 8 days ago. Since coming to the Guiding Light, my life has changed in ways I could not predict or imagine. I have a purpose today. I am comfortable with myself for the first time that I can remember. When I was drinking and doing drugs, even when I wasn't actively using, I always wanted to be somebody else. I wanted to have someone else's life, someone else's set of problems, someone else's physical, mental, and psychological constitution. But today, I have a higher power in my life who accepts me as I am, doesn't demand perfection, and loves me unconditionally. Before entering the Guiding Light, I had none of these things. Where a purpose, truth, and love should have been, there was only a blankness that no amount of alcohol or drugs could fill in. I could not understand what to do with myself or with my alcoholism. I recently read a novel in which one of the main characters states that a protracted sense of personal powerlessness eats away at a person. Before I embraced my powerlessness over alcohol and accepted it as an irreversible condition of my life, that was exactly how I felt. A dull sense that I was powerless to change ate away at me every day. When I finally got it and accepted that I was powerless to change on my own, that I needed other people and the assistance of a higher power, I was able to receive help, and it was the Guiding Light that was there for me. The Guiding Light did things for me that I do not believe I could have done on my own. Guiding Light gave me the place, space, and time to heal and to begin the recovery process. In that safe and protected environment, I could finally start to get sober. It was difficult. It was the most difficult thing I've ever done. The Guiding Light also held me accountable and helped me along my way while becoming an engaged and committed member of the West Michigan recovery community. I had been to 12-step groups before I came to the Guiding Light in Chicago, the first place I tried to get sober, but I could never stick around long enough to understand what the benefits of attending these groups were. I thought that I was special, that my alcoholism was unique, and that I was untreatable and bad. I now see that these things are very common delusions alcoholics and addicts suffer from. But without Guiding Light requiring me to go to these meetings, I don't know if I ever would have become committed to the practices that keep me sober today. It was at a meeting the Guiding Light van took me to that I met my sponsor, which is one of the most important sober relationships in my life. Finally, Guiding Light's emphasis on spirituality helped to reinforce and teach me things that have since become indispensable parts of my sobriety and my life today. Before I came to the Guiding Light, I was a resolute atheist. I wanted absolutely nothing to do with God. I did not consider myself spiritual and did not believe that I had spiritual needs. I had never prayed that I can remember. I had all sorts of head knowledge about religion, about theology, and about Christianity, but I had zero experience with any religious, contemplative, or spiritual practices. It was a perfect case of contempt prior to investigation. I castigated the religions of the world as cruel affronts to moral decency while refusing to admit the very good things religion does or my own needs for spiritual growth. By requiring me to engage with spirituality, the Guiding Light changed my concept of myself as a person. I had new horizons I needed and wanted to explore. I had a new part of myself to care about and to tend to. Suddenly, what happened in my heart mattered as much as what happened in my head. To quote Blaise Pascal, the 17th century French mathematician and theologian, "The heart has its reasons of which reason knows nothing." I am so grateful to have had the opportunity to speak to you fine people today about what the Guiding Light did for me and continues to do for me. Today I live at Iron House, the Guiding Light's transitional housing for men who complete the recovery program. I love it there. Just like when I was in the program, I have a true community that I feel a part of today. We watch out for each other, we care for each other, and some of the guys I live with there are amongst my best friends today. I currently work for the Guiding Light, helping in my own limited way others who are like me get the help they desperately need. My life today is a good life, animated by a good purpose, which I believe in, and I am grateful for all of it. I would like to leave you with another quote from Pascal, which I try to remind myself of every day. "Be humble, impotent reason. Be silent, feeble nature. Learn that man infinitely transcends man. Hear from your master your true condition, which is unknown to you. Listen to God."
Visit lifeinthestreet.org today and help us double our recovery and employment programs.